Welcome to this episode of Hain, where we are going to talk about how to keep safe and secure from cyber crimes and cyber security hazards. Let me introduce our esteemed keynote speaker for today's webinar, Ms. Arpana Lakshmi Singh. She's the founder secretary of the NGO EcoLib Foundation and founder of Cyber Tiffin. She runs a pan-India cyber counseling helpline and services, which is a great work. You know that this is the need of the hour. She's an HBS alumnus, Aspire Circle Fellow, bilingual documentation consultant. She's a poet, a writer, a YouTuber, a posh and POSCO trainer. She's a road safety officer for Gurgaon Police, and she's a cyber ambassador. We are so lucky to have you, Arpana ji, for today's topic.
Yes, as you mentioned, the topic of discussion today is very important, cyber security and hazards for children. Cyber security as such is important not only for children, but also for us. Our children are vulnerable because they do not have as much exposure of the world as we have had and are so more susceptible and prone to such hazards which they do not even know. The threats which a child may face are from several sources. They could be while learning. So they have to be told the importance of safe browsing, limited access. The timeline should be set by the parents or the teachers. Presence of elders and a conducive environment are very important. We talk of the four pillars of cyber security being the safety, the privacy, the well-being, and the resilience. So all these factors need to be enumerated to the child as well, and of course for ourselves too. Online gaming. Children are very susceptible to hazards while they are online. So now for online gaming, the best way for a parent to monitor is to see that the child is viewing age appropriate content. Now age appropriate content is very, very important because predators online, people who are looking to lure students and children, they look for vulnerable children, they look for children who are not aware, or in the guise of a friend, they lure children. We all know that making friends with strangers, accepting requests from strangers is a strict no. That holds for children and also for us. So now stranger danger is something that children have to be warned of, because online people are not what they are in person. It is very easy to mask a person's identity and appear as somebody else online to befriend a child. Especially on gaming platforms, they do not filter who is online. They do not filter whether a person is entitled to be there, or they do not check whether a person is actually what they are. And children are prone to become victims because people befriend children in the guise of they being somebody else. With that, I would also raise the point that nothing in this world is free for us or for the children. So free downloads are a strict no. We have to warn the children that things which appear lucrative, like we have read, everything that dazzles is not gold. Everything which appears good may not be so. A goodly apple may well be rotten at the heart. So a person or an offer or a download which appears lucrative will certainly not be lucrative, because there might be malicious content in it, there might be a virus in it. So free downloads for us and for the children are a strict no. We have to be warned against the dangers of a free download. Whatever apps or whatever games we download, they should be from verified apps, from verified mobile sites. Downloads are also meant to infiltrate your device and download a virus onto your device. So we have to be very careful of that. Now, many times children share their devices. the children have to be warned that sharing of devices is a strict no, like we do not share our mask, we do not share our innerwear. A device must not be left unattended. If a child is using for an educational purpose, the parent may very well put in parental controls and filters for a child to be using a device. There are certain apps which specify the age of a child. Even when we are watching content over social media, over the OTT platforms, all content is not child appropriate. So we have to be careful about what content we are watching with our children. Even at home, it is important to see that a child is not watching content, because as predators do, content which is not appropriate for a child, which may have invectives, which have inappropriate scenes according to a child's age, these are used by predators to groom a child. And of course, we do not want our children to be groomed by predators. Even elder children might watch certain things with a younger child, but what is appropriate for an elder child might not be appropriate for maybe a 4 or a 5-year old. So we have to set limits about the time that a child is on screen, online, and also what content they are watching. Please be very careful about it. Most of our life has turned around and we have become more virtual beings than real beings, because during the pandemic we have been forced to change our lifestyle, and this is going to be the new normal. But instead of giving into the fear which comes from the unknown, awareness is a key to curb that fear and to be aware of the pitfalls and also make others aware. That is the best stance we could have. That is the best protection that we could have of the several hazards. And of course, we are having this webinar, which is very important. Thank you so much for that. When we create accounts or when we log into apps, the permissions that we give to the app are very important. We do not need to disclose or to put all our information out for everyone to see. So filters such as profanity filter, such as our viewership, such as who is able to access our posts, our pictures is very important. And of course, location we do not need to disclose, because as we know, apps are meant to geotag us, to take in our information, and many a times this information is sold on third party apps which nobody has control over, and we are easy targets to bullies and to all these fake marketing people, to scamsters and the like. In social media, oversharing of our personal information may lead to dogpiling, leading to harassment, and also for a child to be socially withdrawn. So these are things which we as parents, we as educationists need to be aware of and also make a child aware. So many times we feel that a child is prone to being a victim, or they could very well be harassed. But we should bear in mind that our child has also been taught not to be a predator, not to be a bully themselves. It is very difficult sometimes to admit that our child could also be not just a victim, but also a perpetrator. So both things have to be kept in mind and the children to be cautioned against. Online chatting through rooms, through these personal chats, are a guise for trolls, for predators to send unsolicited or adult content to a child, which could be very dangerous for the psyche of a child. So children have to be warned that personal data, especially personal content, personal pictures, intimate pictures, should never ever be shared. So part of the stranger danger, or even with people you are familiar with, intimate pictures, sharing of such content is a strict no. And instead of just telling them not to be doing something, we have to be leading by example, also controlling our screen time, also controlling what content we see, and of course the effects it has on us rubs off on our child as well. So I would really request you all to keep a check on our own selves, because our behavior is something which rubs off on the children, and they are very liable to imitate what they see in real life. Some pointers: do not put identifiable information on social media. Sometimes we ourselves, as parents, as educationists, or as a family, we put out pictures and we tag people. Now this is a privacy concern, and we need to be aware that without implicit permission of the next person, we should not tag people, especially pictures of children on social media as our DP, as our cover picture, as we like to share the achievements, but it is a hazard. It is good to share. Social media is meant for social conversations. It is meant to share, but you could put a filter on who could access that information. Only you, only your friends, friends of friends, or the public. So these things are in our hands to be controlled according to the level we want to propagate them at. Restricted access is in the hands of the parents. Now, when a child is on a device, the access should be in the hands of the parents. They should put in filters for the child not to be able to access certain content which could be potentially dangerous for them. Also, when a child is browsing or they are using a device, please ensure that it is in a public place. It is in a place which is accessible to you. It is not in a corner, and the screen is visible to you to be able to monitor what the child is facing or what the child is watching. Earlier, when the schools were on before the pandemic and the child used to attend classes physically, the general conversation in our households after the child returned was how was the day, how they did in school, whether they met their friends, how many teachers came, how the classes were. It would be a good practice to start such a discussion nowadays, but with a twist. How was the day online today? How was the cyber day today? Would be a good conversation to have in an everyday setting with your child. As parents, we need to be there for our child and to assure them that we are open to any type of discussion. We are open to supporting them even when there has been a mistake. Maybe a child has accepted something from a stranger and they are being threatened or they are being sent unsolicited content, but it is okay. We all make mistakes. The child should know that you are open, you are accessible, and you're always there to support them. Conversations in school regarding cyber safety, maybe through cyber clubs, regular upgradation through webinars and regular contests, are a healthy start. Very small children should not have passwords which are private from their parents. They do not need to have that privacy. And reiterating HEMA Foundation's commitment to values, I would say that we do not need to fear social media. Fear comes from the unknown. Awareness is the key to that, and nothing is unsurmountable. And also giving you a further food for thought, cyber security is very much an open academic area which the children are welcome to explore, something which was not there for us. And as Tagore said, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free. So sharing knowledge is stemming fear. And thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.
Yes, Aparna ji.
Yes, Dr. Chinu, I would want to point out that we all are evolving as parents, as trainers, as psychologists, as educationists, and so is our child. So it is not with age. Age is just increasing our life. With age, we are just growing. But evolving is we are opening our minds to new possibilities, to new learnings, and to new outcomes. So this is very important, and we have to be mindful of all that we do. So it is important for us to learn that जैसे पंच तत्व होते हैं, उसी तरह से हम में कई सारे टैलेंट्स हैं, कई सारे कैपेबिलिटीज हैं, and so does our child, all of us. So it is not just one facet we should look at, but offline also there are so many things to do. So अपने interest हमको widen रखते हुए, to keep our interests and our eyes open to possibilities, even the cyber sphere, it is such a important phase for us, because these possibilities of growing, like me as a cyber consultant or as a cyber professional, these avenues were not available to us. So now, like you said, your child is in grade 12, so is mine. So he's saying I can very well be a gamer. That is a very real possibility. But we need to have a balance.
अगर आप बोलते गेमर तो आपको एक थप्पड़ पड़ता.
बिल्कुल पड़ता.
Because ये क्या गेमर. So exactly.
So we need to be open to possibilities. और जैसे Alice in Wonderland में कहा था कि I'm just a school girl. I consider myself that, and we should keep ourselves open to possibilities. We should keep growing and evolving. तो गलतियां हमसे भी होती हैं, गलती बच्चे से भी हो सकती है, लेकिन हम पेरेंट हैं, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि हम हर वक्त सही हैं, या वो बच्चा है तो हम उससे कुछ नहीं सीख सकते. And that dialogue needs to be kept open, as many of you have pointed out. So it's a constant learning, and of course ये याद रखना चाहिए कि AI humans ने बनाया है, और humans ही उसको moderate करेंगे. So let it not consume us.
Yes.
So that
let
has to be
use it, not abuse it, and let us use our devices. Let us not let the devices use us. Okay. So with this, we conclude the excellent session that we had with all of you today.